All right, Yankees fans, buckle up because this is not going to be one of those sugar-coated everything's fine conversations. This is about as real as it gets when it comes to the state of this team right now. And if you've been watching the games lately, you already know it's been ugly. We're talking about a franchise that not too long ago was sitting at the top of the American League East, looking like a lock for the postseason. And now they're hanging on for dear life, sitting in third place and staring down the very real possibility of missing the playoffs entirely. For the New York Yankees, that's not just a bad year. That's a full-blown disaster. And when you have a collapse like this, the finger-pointing begins. The fans are restless. The media is circling. And inside the clubhouse, you can feel the frustration bubbling. A lot of people have been quick to identify one man at the center of this storm, Aaron Boone. The same Aaron Boone who was given a one-year extension not long ago. The same manager who's been in charge of this team since the days when some of you were still in high school. For some fans, his firing is long overdue. For others, it's a fresh frustration, born from a season where the Yankees' roster talent on paper does not match the results on the field. The criticism isn't just emotional. It's backed up by numbers that honestly make your head spin. Let's talk about WAR, wins above replacement, one of the most respected advanced stats in baseball. The Yankees have the best WAR in the entire league, not just the American League, all of baseball. That means that, statistically, the combination of their hitting, pitching, and defense has been better than any other team. And yet, they're sitting in third place in their own division. The Toronto Blue Jays, with the fifth best WAR, are ahead of them. The Boston Red Sox, with a WAR that isn't even in the top 10, are ahead of them. How does that even happen? How do you take a roster producing at an elite statistical level and end up losing so many games you have no business losing? Well, the easy answer, and the one you'll hear from a lot of angry Yankees fans, is poor decision-making from the dugout. When you have the numbers, when you have the talent, and you still can't turn that into wins, people are going to look at the manager. Boone's in-game decisions have been under the microscope all year. From questionable bullpen calls to lineup shuffles that make zero sense, to moments where he seems to play not to lose instead of playing to win. And yes, there are front office issues too. Brian Cashman is far from blameless here, but Cashman doesn't make pitching changes in the sixth inning. Cashman doesn't decide when to pinch hit or pull a starter. Those choices fall squarely on Boone. And this season, he's made far too many that have backfired. It's not just about this year either. Boone's tenure as Yankees manager has been a roller coaster of playoff appearances followed by disappointment. No pennants, no World Series rings, and all of this during the prime years of Aaron Judge's career, a player who, by every measure, is one of the greatest hitters baseball has seen since Barry Bonds. Think about that for a second. Judge could go down as one of the greatest Yankees to ever wear the pinstripes and still retire without a championship. For this franchise, for its history and its fan base, that is unthinkable. And yet, here we are, staring at that exact possibility. When Boone replaced Joe Girardi, there were already plenty of skeptics. Girardi had delivered results, had the respect of his players, and understood what it meant to manage in New York. Boone was a familiar face because of his brief time as a Yankees player, but managing in this city is a whole different beast. The honeymoon phase didn't last long, and over the years the cracks have turned into full-blown fault lines. This year feels like the breaking point. Too many winnable games have slipped away. Too many moments where the team looked unprepared, unfocused, or just flat. For a fan base that expects excellence, this has become unacceptable. And now, the rumor mill is spinning at full speed with names of potential replacements. The Yankees are famously conservative when it comes to hiring managers. They like continuity, they like keeping things in-house, and they definitely like to lean on tradition. That's why Brad Ausmus's name is already floating around. He's currently the Yankees' bench coach. He's a former All-Star and Gold Glove catcher, and historically, the Yankees have had a thing for turning former catchers into managers. Ausmus's managerial record isn't exactly sparkling. His stints with the Detroit Tigers and Los Angeles Angels had more low points than high, but some people see him as a steady, clubhouse-friendly presence who knows the organization. Still, it's hard to ignore that in both Detroit and Anaheim, he never took a team over the hump. Then there's the name that's generating more excitement among fans, Skip Schumaker. If you follow the Miami Marlins over the past couple of years, you know the job he did there was nothing short of impressive. In 2023, he took a team with modest expectations and led them to 84 wins and a surprise playoff berth, earning himself Manager of the Year honors. That's not easy to do in Miami, where the roster has constant holes and the front office instability is legendary. Schumaker is not just a manager with a good resume. He's also a former player with a World Series ring, someone who's lived both sides of the game and knows how to connect with players. At just 45 years old, he also represents a potential long-term answer, the kind of hire who could shape the next decade of Yankees baseball. Of course, the Yankees' tendency to avoid outside hires could make this tricky. They might lean toward a name with a stronger organizational tie, like Don Mattingly. Donnie Baseball would certainly be a nostalgic choice, beloved by fans and respected throughout the league. His managerial record with the Dodgers and Marlins shows he can get teams to play hard, even without stacked rosters. But whether the Yankees are willing to break away from the Boone era and bring in a figure like Mattingly remains to be seen. The bigger picture here is that change feels inevitable. The trajectory the Yankees are on right now doesn't just put their playoff hopes in jeopardy. It puts the entire competitive window for this core of players at risk. Aaron Judge isn't getting younger. Garrett Cole is already in the second half of his career. The offense, outside of a couple of struggling bats, has been excellent. 7 of the regulars have an OPS over .750, which should be more than enough to win games if the pitching and managing are up to par. But the reality is the pitching staff is banged up, the bullpen has been overworked, and the strategic calls from the dugout have often made bad situations worse instead of better. When you look at Brad Ausmus, it's easy to understand why his name is near the top of the list. The Yankees value familiarity, and he's been right there in the dugout as Boone's bench coach. He understands the dynamics of this clubhouse, the personalities, the pressure, and the daily grind of New York media scrutiny. That alone gives him an advantage over some external candidates who would need time to adjust. But here's the catch. Familiarity can be a double-edged sword. If Boone's leadership style is part of the problem, bringing in someone who has been standing next to him all season might not be enough to spark real change. The Yankees need to ask themselves whether Ausmus would truly implement a new approach or if he would simply be a continuation of the status quo with a different voice at the top. Ausmus's managerial resume is mixed. His 4-year run with the Detroit Tigers started with promise. A first-place finish in his rookie year as a manager in 2014, but quickly fell into mediocrity as the roster aged and injuries piled up. By the time 2017 rolled around, the team was unraveling and Ausmus was out. His 1-year stint with the Los Angeles Angels in 2019 was more of the same. A roster with some star talent, flashes of competitive play, but ultimately no postseason berth. Those situations weren't entirely his fault, but they also didn't showcase a manager capable of elevating a flawed roster into a consistent winner. That's exactly the skill the Yankees need right now. Someone who could take a team that looks good on paper and translate that into October success. Then there's Skip Schumaker, and honestly, this is where the conversation gets interesting. Schumaker represents something the Yankees don't often embrace. An external hire with no deep roots in the organization, but a proven ability to overachieve. What he did in Miami was remarkable. The Marlins were not supposed to make the playoffs in 2023. They weren't supposed to even sniff the postseason. But under Schumaker's leadership, they did more than compete. They won enough games to shock the league and sneak into October baseball. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because the manager creates a culture where players believe they can win, even when the outside world says they can't. It happens because the manager knows how to mix and match lineups, handle a bullpen with limited options, and get the most out of a roster that doesn't have the luxury of stars at every position. And let's not forget, Schumaker isn't just a motivator. He's a guy with real baseball credentials. 10 years in the majors, a World Series championship with the St. Louis Cardinals, and the kind of on-field versatility that gave him first-hand experience in multiple roles. He's been the underdog player grinding for a roster spot, and he's been part of championship-caliber teams. That range of experience matters when you're trying to connect with players from all backgrounds and skill levels. At 45 years old, he's young enough to relate to the modern athlete, but experienced enough to command respect in the clubhouse. That's a rare balance. And it's why a lot of Yankees fans are dreaming about what he could do with a roster as talented as this one. The hesitation, of course, comes from the Yankees' track record. They don't often go outside their circle to find leaders. And when they do, it's usually someone with a history of winning in big markets. Schumaker doesn't have that New York experience badge, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe what the Yankees need right now is a fresh voice unburdened by the weight of decades of Bronx tradition. Someone who isn't going to manage with ghosts of the past looking over his shoulder, but instead focus on building a winning team in the present. Another name floating around is Don Mattingly. And if there's one candidate who could bridge the gap between tradition and a new era, it's him. Donnie Baseball is one of the most beloved Yankees of all time, a player who gave everything to the franchise and has carried himself with the dignity and professionalism that fans crave. His managerial record isn't perfect. His time with the Los Angeles Dodgers saw playoff appearances, but no championships, and his run with the Miami Marlins was defined by constant roster turnover and financial constraints. But his teams always played hard. In New York, where effort and accountability are valued as much as results, Mattingly would instantly command the respect of both the clubhouse and the fans. He knows what it means to wear the pinstripes, and that's something you can't teach. But hiring a manager is only part of the solution. The Yankees also have to address the underlying issues that have made Boone's tenure so frustrating. Injuries have been a recurring theme, especially in the pitching staff. When your rotation is held together by rookies, rehabs, and wishful thinking, even the best managerial decisions can only take you so far. This year alone, the Yankees have seen key arms go down left and right. Some of those injuries were foreseeable, others were just bad luck. But the result is the same, a rotation and bullpen that have been stretched thin, forcing Boone to make high-stakes decisions with limited resources. The next manager will inherit those same challenges unless the front office makes real investments in depth and durability. And then there's the mental side of the game. The Yankees have the talent to be one of the most dangerous teams in baseball, but too often they play tight, as if every mistake is going to be the one that ends their season. That kind of pressure can crush a team, especially in New York. The next manager has to be someone who can loosen the grip, keep the players confident, and create an environment where they can thrive instead of just survive. It's about balance, holding players accountable without making them fear every at-bat, every pitch, every error. That's part of why someone like Schumaker is appealing. He's been through the grind as a player and understands that baseball is a long season full of ups and downs. He's shown he can take a group of players who were written off and make them believe in themselves. That mentality, paired with the resources and talent of the Yankees, could be a dangerous combination for the rest of the league. But here's the harsh truth. No manager, no matter how skilled, can fix everything overnight. The Yankees' issues are layered. They have to get healthier. They have to address pitching depth. They have to make smarter in-game decisions. They have to stop playing down to their competition. And they have to remember what it feels like to dominate, not just compete. The Yankees of old didn't hope to make the playoffs. They expected to win the division, to get to the World Series, to lift the trophy. That swagger has been missing, replaced by cautious optimism, and we'll see what happens attitudes. The next manager has to bring that edge back. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. The baseball world is buzzing with a potential blockbuster move as rumors swirl around the New York Yankees' alleged pursuit of ace pitcher Corbin Burnes to bolster their starting rotation. Sources close to the team suggest that the Yankees are aggressively positioning themselves to secure Burnes, a dominant force on the mound known for his electric fastball and devastating breaking pitches. This possible acquisition could signal a shift in the Yankees' strategy as they aim to fortify their pitching staff for a deep playoff run. Burnes, who has been a standout for his previous team with an impressive track record of strikeouts and consistency, fits perfectly into the Yankees' vision of constructing a rotation that can rival any in the league. Speculation is mounting that this move might come in response to the Yankees' desire to strengthen their pitching depth, especially considering the challenges they faced last season against elite offenses. While nothing is confirmed, insiders hint that discussions are well underway, and the Yankees front office is leaving no stone unturned to make this happen. If finalized, this deal could reshape the balance of power in Major League Baseball, putting New York in a formidable position as they chase another championship. The potential acquisition of Corbin Burnes by the New York Yankees has set off an intense chatter among analysts and fans alike, with many debating the ramifications such a move would have on the league's competitive landscape. Burnes, who has earned accolades for his pinpoint control and ability to dominate hitters, would undeniably elevate the Yankees' starting rotation to an elite level. This rumored pursuit comes amid widespread speculation that the Yankees are eager to address any weaknesses in their pitching staff, particularly after encountering difficulties in the postseason that were partially attributed to inconsistent starting pitching performances. If Burnes were to join the Yankees, the team's rotation, already strong with established veterans, would suddenly boast an ace capable of carrying the team through high-pressure games and pivotal moments. There's also talk that this potential signing would send a clear message to rival teams that New York is fully committed to returning to dominance. While the details remain speculative, some insiders suggest that talks between the Yankees management and Burnes representatives could reach a critical phase soon. Should the deal come to fruition, the Yankees might just have the ace pitcher they need to assert their supremacy in a fiercely competitive American League. The Yankees' pursuit of Corbin Burnes has ignited a frenzy of rumors that suggest a major shakeup in the team's pitching dynamics could be imminent. Burnes, renowned for his high strikeout rates and sharp slider, has been linked with various teams before, but the intensity of interest from New York seems unmatched. Sources speculate that the Yankees see Burnes as a game-changer, someone who can transform their rotation from strong to dominant overnight. This potential acquisition also raises questions about how the Yankees might structure their roster to accommodate Burnes, including possible trades or roster adjustments to manage payroll and maintain overall balance. Speculation even extends to whether Burnes' presence would influence the roles of other starting pitchers currently on the roster, possibly creating a more competitive environment that could push the entire pitching staff to new heights. The Yankees front office is reportedly exploring all angles, from contract terms to long-term commitment, indicating a serious intent to secure Burnes. The baseball community eagerly watches as this story develops, with many wondering if the rumored deal will materialize into one of the most significant signings in recent Yankees history, further fueling the team's ambition to reclaim its throne atop Major League Baseball. As the rumor mill around Corbin Burnes and the New York Yankees continues to churn, speculation intensifies regarding the broader implications for the team's championship aspirations. Burnes is widely regarded not only for his raw talent, but also for his work ethic and ability to perform under pressure, qualities highly prized by any contender. Should the Yankees finalize this deal, it could signal a turning point for a franchise that has consistently aimed to assemble a powerhouse capable of dominating both the regular season and postseason. The addition of Burnes might also create ripple effects throughout the league, forcing other contenders to respond with their own moves to keep pace with the Yankees' enhanced rotation. Furthermore, insiders speculate that Burnes' potential arrival might influence managerial decisions and pitching strategies, providing the Yankees with more flexibility in how they deploy their starters and relievers. This speculation about Burnes also sparks debates over the financial aspects of such a move, with analysts pondering how the Yankees will navigate their payroll constraints while securing a top-tier pitcher. The excitement and uncertainty surrounding this rumor continue to build, promising a fascinating storyline to follow as the offseason progresses. In the midst of swirling rumors about Corbin Burnes' possible move to the New York Yankees, fans and experts alike are caught up in imagining the impact such a signing would have on the team's quest for glory. Burnes' reputation as a dominant pitcher with an arsenal of pitches that confound hitters has made him a coveted asset, and the Yankees' reported interest suggests they are willing to go all out to bring him to the Bronx. Speculation abounds about how Burnes would mesh with the Yankees' existing core and whether his presence could be the missing piece in their championship puzzle. Some insiders suggest that acquiring Burnes might also influence the Yankees' future roster moves, including how they manage their farm system and veteran players. This rumor continues to gather momentum, with every new report adding layers to the possibility that the Yankees are on the verge of securing a game-changing ace. While nothing has been officially announced, the mere prospect of Burnes joining the Yankees ignites hope and anticipation among the fan base, who eagerly await confirmation of what could be one of the most significant pitching additions in recent memory. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.